The day my best friend and my husband disappeared together, I didn't cry, I didn't scream, I didn't throw things across the room the way I always imagined I would. I just sat down at the kitchen table, looked at the empty chair across from me, and thought to myself, she has absolutely no idea what she just started. Let me take you back 6 years. Her name, for this story, I'll call her Maya. And Maya was the kind of friend every woman deserves at least once in her life. She was there when my father passed, sat with me on the floor of the hospital hallway, and didn't say a single word, because she understood that sometimes words are useless. She held my hand the night I miscarried. 3 in the morning, no questions. She stood beside me at my wedding in a pale blue dress, crying before I even reached the altar. I trusted her with everything. My fears about my marriage, my insecurities, the way I sometimes felt invisible next to my own husband. That was my mistake.
My husband, I'll call him Daniel, wasn't a cruel man when we married.
She always had an excuse. Tired, busy, overwhelmed. And because I'm the kind of person who gives people space when they seem to need it, I gave her space. I thought she was going through something. I was right. Just not the way I thought. The third sign I couldn't ignore. I found a hotel receipt in his jacket pocket while I was dropping it off at the dry cleaner. A hotel 20 minutes from our house. The date was a Tuesday night when Daniel had told me he was working late. I stood in the kitchen holding that receipt for a long time, and something shifted inside me. Not rage, not panic, clarity. A cold, quiet, completely calm clarity. I put the receipt back in his pocket exactly as I found it. I dropped the jacket off at the cleaner. I made the kids' lunches, I drove them to school, and on the way home I called a divorce attorney. Now, before I tell you what happened next, I need you to understand something. I could have gone nuclear right then. I could have called Maya, screamed at Daniel, made the scene that a part of me desperately wanted to make. But here's what I've learned from watching people destroy each other for years. The loudest reaction is always the weakest one. She had watched me fall apart over small things my entire adult life. A bad day, a missed anniversary, a thoughtless comment. She had a version of me in her head, emotional, impulsive, predictable. She thought she knew exactly what I would do. And there was one more thing she didn't know. Something that was going to make everything I was about to do completely airtight. She and Daniel worked in the same building, same company, same floor. That detail, that one small detail, was going to matter more than either of them could possibly imagine. I spent the next 6 weeks building my case. I hired a private investigator, not because I needed proof for myself. I already had enough for that, but because I needed documentation. Dates, locations, timestamps, everything clean and legal for the divorce proceedings. Every meeting, every hotel, every paper trail. My lawyer helped me review our shared accounts. I moved every dollar that was legally mine into a separate account. Not a cent more, not a cent less. Everything done properly, everything on record. And then my lawyer sent a carefully worded letter to Daniel's employer. Because Daniel had been using company time and company resources, his work email, his work phone, paid hours, for personal activities that violated his employment contract. That wasn't my opinion. That was documented fact. Here is where Maya's detail becomes important. She had also been using her company email, her work phone, her paid hours, to coordinate the same activities, the same HR letter, the same documentation, delivered simultaneously. I told no one what I was doing. Not my sister, not my mother. I smiled at family dinners. I packed his lunches. I wished Maya a happy birthday on Instagram with a heart emoji. 6 weeks of silence. 6 weeks of watching them relax into the lie. 6 weeks of them believing they had gotten away with it. On a perfectly ordinary Thursday morning, my lawyer filed the divorce papers. Daniel received them at 9 in the morning, citing documented evidence of sustained infidelity. Under our state's laws, that affects asset division significantly. He had assumed I knew nothing. He had made no preparations. He was completely blindsided. By noon, both he and Maya had received meeting requests from HR. By 3 in the afternoon, they had both lost their jobs. On the same afternoon, they thought they were building a future together. I was sitting at a coffee shop when my lawyer called to confirm everything had been delivered. I ordered a slice of chocolate cake. I hadn't had cake in months. I'd been too anxious, too sad, too busy making myself smaller to fit inside a marriage that was already hollow. That cake tasted like the first real meal after a very long winter. Daniel tried to call that evening, then the next day, then through mutual friends. I didn't answer. There was nothing to say. Everything I needed to communicate had already been said, in legal language, with documentation, and without raising my voice once. Maya sent me a message, pages long. Apologies, explanations, justifications. The kind of message people write when they want a reaction, when they need you to engage, when your silence is making them uncomfortable. I read it once, then I deleted it. Here's what I learned about people who betray you. They always want the confrontation. They want you to scream so they can defend themselves. They want you to cry so they can feel powerful. They want your reaction because your reaction makes them the main character of your story. I decided a long time ago that I am the only main character in my story. 3 months after the divorce was finalized, I received a message from Daniel's mother, a woman who had always been quietly kind to me, the way some mothers-in-law are when they see more than they let on. She apologized. She said she had suspected something for over a year and felt ashamed she hadn't spoken sooner. She asked if she could still be part of the children's lives. I said yes, without hesitation. Because here is what this entire experience taught me. Revenge was never about punishment. It was about restoration, getting back what was taken, my peace, my dignity, my future, my sense of self. I didn't need them to suffer forever. I just needed to stop suffering. Today my apartment is quiet in a way my old house never was. My children sleep well. I sleep well. I have a job I love and a circle of 3 friends, real friends, who have never once made me feel like I have to earn my place at the table. Maya and Daniel are still together, last I heard, still struggling. Some punishments write themselves. If you are sitting somewhere right now, knowing something is wrong, feeling the pull to react, to explode, to make them feel what you're feeling, I understand that pull. I lived inside it for weeks. But I need you to hear this. You don't need to burn their world down. You just need to quietly walk out of it. Collect yourself. Collect your evidence. Collect your options. And when you move once, move completely, and don't look back. If this story stayed with you, subscribe, because every week we share stories of people who chose dignity over drama and silence over surrender. You are stronger than they think, and they will find that out exactly when you decide.